Happy day to you all, my dear listeners of Radio Udaan. This is your RJ Babuji Janakarajan meeting you on the grand new year 2023 with yet another episode of the Great Indian Monologue talk show. Unlike the past few episodes, this time I'm going to take a lighter vein one, but a serious one, as you will understand as I guide you through the talk show of this week. It's about marriages, okay? Marriages made in India. How are they changing to change the world around us? A fundamental shift is underway in the way marriages are approached in India of late. For the guy's family, getting a bride with a traditionally preferred age gap of 4 years or so, that is 4 years younger at least. The reason given is maturity level of women are greater than men of the same age, etc. And this expectation is a rapidly shrinking option as more and more would-be brides like to work for some time before getting married for valid reasons. And this economic independence and avenue for speedier reach to their parents' aspirations, because most of the parents who would have spent a fortune providing education to their girl child too have expectations, right? Having a home on their own and so on and so forth. So to speedily reach their parents' aspirations means the normal age of marriage for brides is getting pushed down to late 20s. Really late 20s, it is not 24, 25, it is 29, 30 or even beyond. In some cases by the parents themselves, right? Many don't trust girls from big cities. Stupid, but this is true. This is the way they feel, as they think big cities corrupt, and big cities corrupt absolutely, it seems. For the girl's family, the groom must be local, as working in a place nearer to the parents, as most of the families have only single kids. Must be a teetotaler, no bad habits. But how on earth one could check this in the absence of large families with super large relatives network, as it was used to be in the past, and that too in the current India where social drinking is a very much in thing. If you don't drink, then you are an outcast, right? And more expectations like, the groom must earn at least, 5-digit salary. Thankfully, this is not per month, but per annum still, and so on. What I deduce from this is a lack of trust that has become the bedrock on which the new marriages, which are supposed to be long-standing and long-lasting institutions, are getting built upon. Marriage dates are subjected to availability of marriage halls these days. As simple as that. Soon people would fix up a hall and then start looking for alliances, I suppose, like a target date in a project. Gone are the days where the marriage ceremony would be conducted in a place of worship or an ancestral family home with only dear and near ones invited and labor shared on a non-monetary basis. Everybody would pitch in to do the work, and everybody would pitch in to serve the food also, lovingly cooked, lovingly served, knowing who eats them, right? A couple of recent marriages that I attended had swelling crowd numbering more than 2,000 per marriage. Can you imagine? 2,000 is the size of a decent village. Decent in the sense, purely from the size. Not a small, but a medium-sized village, right? This is the kind of crowd that attends most of the marriages which are happening in the cities. Needless to say, a great deal of money is spent on such events. A bag full of money just for the company that, decorates the stage with real flowers flown in from Spain, from Holland or whatnot, No issues. Here is a check, man. Go and get them, right? This is the attitude. People no longer attend the muhurat. They drop in at the convenience in the night before the day of the marriage, gift the newlywed couple who are already in cloud 9 with, whatever rudimentary gifts they pack, pose for photograph or video, and then disappear in a hurry to repeat this act in quite a few places on the same night, as they would be among the 2,000 plus people invited for multiple marriages within the city. Consequently, those 2,000 food plates which are getting prepared in each of such marriage halls, they would go go waste if you do the mathematics. A person attending, say, 3 such functions in an evening can eat at only one place, right? So what happens to the food ordered in 2 other marriages for this person? And this person is not singular. If you take 2,000 people, hypothetical case where the same 2,000 people are invited for 3 different marriages in the city, they would have actually prepared 6,000 dinner plates, meals or whatever you call it, and these 2,000 people could eat in only one place, so 4,000 food plates go waste on an average in this simple example. Still, the parents who bear the cost of the marriage hall hire up huge facilities for the ceremony and spend tons of money on food alone. Though the buffet system is catching up fast, wasted food is still much more than wasted food actually, right? If you actually do the calculation of the effort that goes behind producing those food, bringing them to the table, what you see as a plate of food wasted is much more wasted effort than just the food you see in the plate. And the buffet systems, they have a deserted look during the actual muhurat because most of the people would have already visited the marriage hall the night before and, would have been chasing their dreams at the time of the muhurat in their respective jobs. I think it is only a matter of time before the significance attached to auspicious muhurat timing will be thrown out of the window and marriages will get scheduled only during holidays or late evenings. Early morning marriages are a strict no-no for the 2,000 plus invitees you see. They can't get up so early in the morning to visit a temple or a place of, the marriage hall if the muhurat is, say, at 4:30 in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning. They need a convenient time. On the back of the envelope calculations, a person known to me spent close to 15 lakhs just for conducting the ceremony. Jewels, dresses and other expenses not included. He represents the new middle class Indians. Actually, he is not a very well off person, he is not too poor too. But for just the arrangements of the marriage, the stage, the hall and other amenities, he spent close to 15 lakhs. Once the marriage is over, the 2,000 plus group of invitees, they basically dismantle. The couple start living their new life in a swanky flat alone and are subjected to a very different set of problems which most of them refuse to share with anybody, marital discord or conflicts or whatever. In the old days, if you had a problem, you had people to talk to and those people would have been really invested in your life, in your well-being as a couple. So they would share their life experience to set the path right for you. This is not happening anymore. Tolerance at all levels are going down rapidly between husband and wife, between in-laws and spouses, and so on and so forth. Being single kids, the response for their respective parents after a few hiccups is, you don't have to tolerate this nonsense anymore, so come back home. We would sort out the issue later through court. The parents of these single kids, after a few rounds of discord, this is the usual or the typical response they give because nobody seems to have patience anymore. Divorce rate is on the rise, actually went up tenfold within a decade in a metro like Chennai, and the average period of married life of divorce seeker is hardly 6 to 9 months. So you see somebody or you meet somebody in Facebook or Tinder or whatever social media or even person to person, you fall in love head over heel within a day and you date for a very brief time and then you rush through a marriage and the marriage lasts only for 6 to 9 months on the average. Lawyers dealing with divorce are a busy lot. A friend of mine who's a good-hearted lawyer, he tried to mend the differences between the warring hubby and wife by counseling them over few sittings. And soon he was besieged by separate sets of armed relatives who wanted to teach him a lesson or two in getting a divorce. 101. 101 is the tag given to the primer for any subject. For example, in the US institutions of learning, 101 Math 101 is a primer to learn math. It is a beginner's course. So these relatives of the bride and groom, they didn't like the mediation done by the lawyer because he was trying to get them continue the married life, and the respective relatives, they didn't want to do that. So they armed themselves and they tried to attack the lawyer. This happened in Chennai in the recent past. Okay. From we to ours to, I don't know whether many of you are aware of this slogan. This was brought in the late 70s, early 80s to control the population growth in India. We two, ours two was the popular slogan which was painted everywhere on the compound walls, on the buses and so on and so forth, From that we two, ours two, it became we two, ours one, two. DISC is not some computer periphery device. It stands for double income single kid. So DISK, double income single kid, DISC. And later on, people moved on to DINK, DINK. What it stands for? Double income, no kids, no worries, right? Evolution, I suppose. Recently, an acquaintance was lamenting to me. A friend of mine was lamenting to me. And my daughter fall in love with, somebody. These things could have been quite easier for us under the current scenario, Arranged marriage has become a hell of a problem. So I would not be surprised if marriage as a concept itself disappears from Indian mindset within the next 20 years. Gazillion tons of gold would be liberated from the confines of boxes and we would be living in an inflation-free world. Just, think about it. However poor an Indian could be, every Indian would have at least half a gram to 1 gram gold. It may be their life's biggest asset or whatever. But if you do the math, 130 crore people having at least 1 gram or more gold. It's a huge chunk, right? Most of the gold which are getting mined by the miners of the Western world, they actually somehow find a fast lane to reach the boxes of Indian families, right? So, mankind spends so much time, energy and money in digging up gold from the deepest crevices of earth, only to lock them up few feet under or above earth in safety lockers in the form of jewels and bars, and spend a lot more time, energy and money protecting these Fort Knoxes. This could be one of the biggest miseries that we brought upon ourselves. The money which has been spent or parked in gold, which lies unused in safety lockers because it is not safe to keep them in the home because they would attract burglars, whatever. So they are safely kept in lockers, which means for some occasional enjoyment, tons and tons of gold are sleeping in the lockers without adding any productive value to our economy and to the global economy. In the past few years, there are only 2 buildings, which have longer queue or the longest queues man could see. One is in front of the American consulate, where a lot of Indians, who aspire to become global citizens, with ambitions to go for higher education or for a better paying job or whatever, they make, serpentine queues in front of the consulate offices. And the second such queue apparently is happening in front of the lawyers' offices who practice divorce law. So there's, marriage is made in heaven, it's an institution. They all went out of the window, and sooner or later, the prenuptial contract, which is the norm in Western countries, where the roles and responsibilities, the do's and don'ts, and the rules and the deal breakers would all be meticulously documented down to the last T, and it would have a clause, in case if the marriage falls apart, these are the steps to be followed. So from a heartstring invoked one, marriages will be driven more and more by processes and documents where lawyers would play a much bigger role. So, is this the way to evolve? India being one of the largest, populace in the world, where, marriage industry is one of the biggest industries, which is evolving at breakneck speed, like, pre-nuptial photo shoot, and then, betrothal ceremony shoot, and then pre-wedding shoot, and wedding day shoot, and post-wedding day shoot, honeymoon shoot, baby bump shoot, and blessing the baby ceremony shoot, and so on and so forth. Lot more business opportunities have been created and built around a simple institution called marriage, but the veneration or the high ethos, we used to keep inside this building is becoming hollow. Welcome to the 21st century, my dear friend. Think about it, how marriages are getting done in India, and if you are about to get married, or if you're already married, or if your kid is about to be married, please, think about how you want to approach this age-old ritual. Are you going to be a modern idiot or a traditional wise person? The choice is yours. Thanks for listening patiently. And this being a new year, and with the last few weeks bringing up the scare of a new COVID version outbreak or whatever, I didn't want to burden you with some really heavy topic. So I thought I would start with something really light for this year. But as usual, most of these problems which seem very light on the surface level, if you scratch a bit deeper, they are real big issues. So my dear friends, thanks for listening patiently. I will talk to you yet again in the next episode of Great Indian Monologue with another interesting topic. Till then, stay blessed. This is Babuji Janakarajan, your radio jockey, and you just listened to the Great Indian Monologue talk show in Radio Udaan. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.